Is BlackRock setting up the major ETH sell-off in front of our eyes? We're going to take a look at this, see what the hell's going on with altcoins. Bitcoin at a very important price point. Right now, a morning sell-off has brought us down to levels. Yes, we were watching out for them, but actually, we're sitting at these key spots right now. We're going to be taking a look at what to expect in terms of if we lose these key levels, what the next leg down could be for Bitcoin. And man, things are getting wild out there. And you know what? I may dive into it later on in the show, but I have some, I have conversations about things I cannot speak about on this. I don't want to nuke the channel here. I might have to start the live stream. I might have to just work into the night here in the office until I get the new house. The blockchain basement, the dark deep dive's got to be coming. But I got my man on the sticks, Mr. Isaac. How are you doing?
Guess who's back, baby? It's a good morning. Besides getting you stuck in traffic, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Good morning. Got here.
It is a little bit of a commute. Right. It is a little bit of a commute. That's for sure. Well, let's get into it. We got a lot of stuff to cover in usual fashion. I have 800 tabs and a whole hell of a lot of conversation to be had here. Make sure to follow me at Druth Crypto on the Twitters. And if you are wanting to follow us in the SocialFi platforms, I'm live on the Arena, the Avalanche social network platform at 12 p.m. And then also I go live on Solana's SocialFi attempt here with Pump Fun, right? We're on Pump Fun. We actually have some news about Pump Fun. Creator fees, pretty awesome on Pump Fun. But there's some controversy going on with one of the main streamers out there, Gainsey, right? So we're going to be taking a look at that story and more. What up in the Pump chat here? We got Ryuken. Sorry, brother. I'm on the other studio. I can't get you up on stage here. Laserface, Cali Crypto, Tilt, No Guilt, Sack Nasty once again. We spent some morning time discussing in the basement Discord. We're cooking in the basement Discord. Laserface, DeFi Crypto and Airdrops, all the peeps here. Good to see you. Mark Meyer. Yes, Mark Meyer, Nick Dunn. Matthew Malik got 250 people watching in the Arena, our congruent show in there. You guys, there is so much cool stuff being tested and developed in crypto right now. You just have to take some time to get used to it, right? I mean, there are so many things that are, really only an ounce of interest from existing social media platforms moving over to those. And we could see some crazy stuff happening to them. That's been a thought on my mind this morning. But the other thought on my mind is what the hell is going on with Bitcoin? We're crashing. This is on the 5-minute chart, and things have been very, very bad. Okay. So we had the general line in the sand I was developing and really, stopped out of a trade. I tried a long fart when I saw Bitcoin hit this level because fart and Bitcoin move pretty in tandem. But ever since that, man, we lost that level. Now we're, finding support for the short term. But honestly, man, if I'm looking at this thing on the larger time frames, which we got to, we kind of deserve this pullback. Just kind of gonna say it. We kind of deserve the pullback, coming back down into this damn range. It is what it is. It's not up only season, but honestly, that kind of makes me happy in terms of trading and potentially adding to altcoin positions. I do have a few altcoins in mind that I've been researching over the past few weeks that I'm feeling good about. But one might stick out more than the rest here after we go through all the stories here. Ethereum, kind of the same story. This is Ethereum on the 4-hour. If you're backed up, Ethereum is actually running into a very, very important level here at the 4,200 to 4,300 spot. Now, there are people, very, very good traders, that think that we go up from here. One of the best in the biz out there, CryptoFace, put it out today. It's pump day. So CryptoFace actually feeling like this is going to end up being a pump day that we're in once we break the $4,400 area. Resistance is a rocket ship up. Ethereum is toiling right now. It's toiling with our emotions. It's toiling with our bags at 43.10. Now, the real fast ride down to $4,000 flat. I think $4,000 flat is one of the main spots you got to watch out for if a larger washout happens. And DZ was pointing out some interesting things on the Bitcoin chart. earlier this morning. Let's go take a look at that. The potential larger head and shoulders pattern being developed here. Let's see here. I want to actually check this out because I found that quite fascinating. I can't. Yes. Okay. Yeah. On the 45 minutes. All right. And let's see here. Is the pain done, D? All right. DZ, great job on seeing this. Fuck, man. I got stopped out. We almost played out to this entire move. So the entire move of this head and shoulders almost played out if you're looking at the 45-minute. And +1 in chat if Steve-O should be banned. This we're right at the top of the range breakout that we just had on Bitcoin. So this is kind of why I'm looking for that shorter term. If it is a dead cat bounce and we continue lower, fine. But this is where I'm looking for a little bit of resistance, a little bit of turbulence in the charts, a little bit of chop. Hence why the trades come in. Man, we got a +1, +1, +1, +1. You know what? I mean, it looks pretty concise.
You are banned.
Looks pretty good. Chances are high, Steve-O. Now, Bitcoin dominance. What does Bitcoin dominance look like? All the news, fine. We'll get into that. But what are the charts giving us? What the signals telling us? Bitcoin's fighting back, folks. She's fighting back. And mostly, I think this fight back is actually making its way towards the Ethereum graph on the fight back here on Bitcoin dominance. Others chart not looking too bad. The others chart, these are things outside of the top 10, really not looking too bad. The degens are having some fun right now. This is a healthy chart. We're set up for some nice structure. So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into these deep memes and see. Now, this is a crazy story. I'm not able to go into complete detail about what the hell's going on here, but this is an all filler, no pillar why blockchain cities fail. Now, if you look at it, they talk about blockchain city concepts failing. One of the most recent, perhaps most controversial, the U.S. President Donald Trump and his plan to rebuild, and I can't say the name because we just got word. We just had breaking news right before I went on stream. You're going to love this, Isaac. You're going to love this. It's like I was able to skip a couple parts of the process and just go straight to the source on who I work for. Google and YouTube signed a $45 million deal with to run Hasbro ads, particularly related to so
that
that's
place,
going on.
The plaza, or we'll call it the plaza.
So this story is talking about the story is talking about a plan of Trump's related to the guy that we just showed here in the embattled territory that would incorporate a token into its fundraising and property investment model. What? Right? And I feel like this went a little bit under. This came out this morning. It wasn't 9 minutes ago. It was this morning. Now, this is just the first example they highlight. And you're like, okay, wait a minute. Wait. So we're talking about Trump and his rebuilding plan. We already know BlackRock is involved in rebuilding Ukraine, right? So now we look a little bit further into this. So that the writer of this, Aaron Wood, okay, senior writer in the features team at Cointelegraph. Great, Aaron. Aaron worked on the election campaigns for the Democratic Farm Labor Party in Minnesota. Managed technical editor of the Enterpro newsletter and the Academic Journal. So he is definitely not voting for Trump, right? Let's just say it that way. Here's his account. Pretty fun, go through it. But really, when we look at this story, when we go back and look at this story, I was like, where are the sources? What are the sources for such a insane? Do you notice that I had some restraint on the title?
You
with
did have
this?
A lot of restraint.
I had a lot of restraint with this title, right? So the sources on this, let's go check out the sources. The sources are all Washington Post, CNBC, and pretty much the usual suspects of the Trump derangement syndrome disease, right? So because I'll question what Trump's doing, yada, yada, yada. But having just a blind bias against him would make you blind to the truth. And I go through all of these different organizations, Reuters, J-Post, they have a pretty strong historic background of being as much of a Trump fodder as possible. Now, me questioning, Trump's policies, spending outlooks, that in some view as FUD, but I gotta acknowledge where problems are, even if I did vote for the fella, because how can you keep your elected officials accountable if you're never willing to say anything? Yeah. So this being reported as far as the token being connected to this rebuilding program, I think merits further investigation, right? And further verification clearly. Main question here, Isaac, you buying if they roll out a token?
If they roll out a token? No.
Trump Plaza East token.
Trump Plaza East token. Actually, I'd probably buy the initials and I'd dump it immediately after we see a massive pump. But I'm not sitting there long term holding that sucker because that's just gonna be another pump and dump like they all are.
Okay. Me, maybe $5.
Like 50 bucks. I'm not saying throw like 3 bands into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like something that I'd buy as almost a souvenir of the chaos of the times, really. I do that all the time. I get souvenirs of times and eras in my life, and we are definitely in an interesting one. That is for sure. Now let's get into the other stuff. I just had to highlight that story. Here is the news about BlackRock selling $150 million worth of ETH in BlackRock ETFs alone. The heat is being turned up on ETF outflows for Ethereum, but they bought double the amount, $300 million worth of Bitcoin, a shifting within the tide internally. Now, a little bit of more interest heading into Bitcoin on the ETF side from BlackRock participants, and Ethereum having a little bit of a shakeout, right? A little bit of a shakeout. Now, within this, the changing of hands, I think TJ really, really nailed it. This is a changing of hands and where a lot of this old school ETH is going. Whales are accumulating ETH, and 2 newly created wallets withdrew 34,000 Ethereum worth 151 mil from Binance and deposited it into Aave, right? So we see capital flowing from one location to the next, changing hands. Treasuries also building themselves out. I think what CryptoFace said earlier this morning could be invalidated, but I kind of align with the outlook of a bounce from here. Ethereum's graph really doesn't look too scary for me. Let's actually go look at it again. So this is on the 4-hour. Let's look at kind of a more zoomed in time frame of where we're trying to show our line of defense here. So the defense point is actually at lows that were being developed over the last few days. And, there is that moniker where the more times you try to bust through those support zones, you break through them, go lower. So we got to be cognizant of that. If the next thing below us, I'd, only be enticed around $4,000. This is kind of that moment where either we hold on to this generalized, 4250 range, and continue the higher lows along, and just have had a, EMA shakeout to really make people question their sanity, or, we go to $4,000. So I'm not, if we break below this and start losing essentially 4212, I think it's a ride down to $4,000 flat in short order. But today, I'm in a bullish mindset. I'm looking for upside. I'm trading, looking for upside. Obviously, keeping stops there. And that's kind of my opinion for where the ETH price is right now, regardless of the dumping of ETH ETFs, right? And if they want to dump it, you know what? I'm gonna buy it. If we can dump ETH down to $1,500 again, I'll pick some up. Let's see the chat here. What do you guys think? Is that what's happening, or is the bull market over? Am I an idiot for buying cheap crypto? You let me know in the comments. I want to see what you guys are saying. What if Powell says no rate cuts? That would be nasty. Sack nasty. XR herpes. Let's see here. Men are shifting from XRP to Chainlink. Maybe. I don't know. The XR people that I know, I mean, they are entrenched, right? They are heavily over allocated, overexposed, looking for that major move, right? I don't know. That's just like the XR people that I know that are kind of like maximalists. They ain't selling it. They ain't selling. Yeah, DeFi crypto no drop. There is no stopping in my heart of telling them about tokenomics and how much price appreciation to expect out of XRP. But you will be unpopular, right? You will be unpopular if you do so. So it's kind of the nature of the beast, and it's a fight I'm willing to take. So now we go on to this story with Wintermute urging the SEC to clarify network tokens like Bitcoin and Ethereum should not be classified as securities. This is something that Wintermute may be taking this stance not just to open the door for Bitcoin and ETH, because I think those doors are pretty clearly kicked open, right? I think that they want to classify other tokens that have network token activity like Bitcoin and ETH to be then just flat out deemed commodities, right? So this is a interesting take. Let's actually see what Grox thinks of this. Smart move by Wintermute. Clarifying network tokens like Bitcoin and ETH aren't securities could reduce uncertainty support for U.S. innovation in crypto. Still, the SEC's focus on investor protection is valid, balance, and key. So kind of what I was saying, but I actually think that they're trying to pave the way for, probably tokens like Tau, right? Things that have similar mechanisms of Ethereum and or Bitcoin. And this would be really good for Caspa too. Like that's another thing. This is some red meat for the Caspa people, Isaac.
Mm-hmm.
We just came up with it.
Yeah.
Is because if they get this proof of work is just straight up a commodity, leave us alone stamp, that looks pretty good for Caspa proof of work coins and Litecoin. Chaotically enough.
Even though Caspa's a long way to dig itself out of the trenches, I think that's the little hope that you
maybe it's the day we go look at the Caspa chart. Every now and again I get the wild hair. I go look at the Caspa chart. Isaac has the dude. Okay. Where is this?
You are banned.
Papa Goose.
You're
banned. Okay. Now, another reason for the market pullback today, which is kind of funny, U.S. initial jobless claims came in at 237,000. Expectations were 230. Really not too many more jobless claims than expected, but still higher than expected. This bullish because what? Because we get Federal Reserve interest rate cuts off of data for our literal labor market falling apart before our eyes. Wow. Oh my God. I am so bullish. Thank you so much. Jesus Christ. This is sometimes the way that reality works is just so insane to me. Now September does look very, very strongly like a interest rate cut. But Treasury market's still having problems. There is so much bullshit on the horizon for the US dollar if we don't fix it quick. Now, speaking of BS on the edge of breaking out, here's some. NATO chief, Russia can't veto troops in Ukraine. Okay. So we're seeing that NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte is saying they can't stop NATO from placing troops in the location that started the conflict to begin with. We also have Macron saying this 26 countries have pledged 25 to 30,000 troops in reassurance forces for Ukraine after the fighting ends. Right? Even after the war ends, these countries are pledging these troops for Ukraine. Among the security guarantees in Ukrainian membership into the EU, which is one step closer to NATO, which is the big bad thing that, this is, Isaac, how do you feel seeing this go on? Like we get told that there's peace talks. We get told that there's some huge fix and that there's going to be negotiations. And then now we see military buildups like we've never seen before in history. Mm-hmm. Right. How do you feel? I mean, because you might be heading into the armed forces here. Like,
correct.
Give us your thoughts.
I don't know. That's interesting because again, I've talked to plenty of a couple recruiters and different people, and they're like talking about how there's no active deployments and nothing's like that. Need that black light check. Okay, sorry, that distracted me. I might ban you after I'm done ranting about the military. No active deployments here, but I mean, it is possible. If we saw the talks of peace deals didn't happen, everyone was bummed. We saw the war starting to ramp up again. Again, peace talks, whatever, and it didn't happen. So it's just going to be an endless cycle of this, and there's not going to ever be a time where there's not war, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's an interesting time, and really kind of feels like we're getting sold one story of peace, and the reality is something different. We have this that we got to check out. This is Secretary of Defense Pete talking about a change and rebranding of the Defense Department. Let's take a look.
Origin, and one way he wants to do that with changing the name from Defense to Department of War. What is the timeline on that?
I've said stand by on it, and that's what I'll say again, because that's ultimately the president's call. But I'll say this: we won World War I and we won World War II, not with the Department of Defense, but with a War Department, with the Department of War. As the president has said, we're not just defense, we're offense. We're reestablishing at the department the warrior ethos. We want warriors, folks that understand how to exact lethality on the enemy. We don't want endless contingencies and just playing defense. We think words and names and titles matter. So we're working with the White House and the president on it. Stand by, but we might have some new signage here, right over here, eventually.
Department of War coming soon, man. It's very, very interesting posturing. And now I think about the time frame, right? So let's just kind of unpack what happened this week. Right after Trump has hopeful peace negotiations with Vladimir Putin, literally right after that, Putin goes and shoulder to shoulder with Kim Jong-un, president of North Korea rather, President Xi of China, and Putin, right? Okay, so North Korea is a obvious and long-term adversary of the U.S., constantly testing out missiles, constantly getting yelled at by the U.S. government, just no breaking that animosity. Then you have China, right, who's outwardly in a trade war in negotiations, but we all know that trade wars kind of precede larger wars. And then Russia, who's already actively engaged with the front door to NATO and the European Union, right? And I just covered what the European Union's opinion is of that. And now we've also seen Trump here in the U.S. start to make the move towards nationalizing companies, starting with that trade side and taking a 10% stake in Intel, right? So we see the formation of government intervention, government interest in systemically important industries. This move from Intel and the U.S., Bernie Sanders has praised. Bernie Sanders comes out, praised Trump's designs for Intel as the government takes 10% of the company. It's notable Sanders, avowed Democrat socialist whose policies are largely viewed as toxic by the investment world, praised Trump designs for this. If microchip companies make a profit from generous grants that they receive from the federal government, the taxpayers of America have a right to a reasonable return of that investment, he says. And here it is, Trump vows to nationalize as many private companies as it will take to defeat socialism. But the context is that the U.S. government increased intervention in control of businesses during the 1930s. After the bank failures and deflation, the stock market crash of 1929, mass unemployment and poverty, right, and agricultural and industrial collapse. Okay, it was government intervention. I've said this a lot, right? You've heard this a lot. The New Deal. Isaac, how many times have I said this? Here, let's get you up here. Yeah, let's get you unmuted. You have to unmute your mic.
Oh, my bad. I didn't realize I was muted. I accidentally hit the button.
Yeah.
You talk about it so much, I can audibly hear you say it in my head when I'm by myself in my sleep. Yep.
Yeah. These factors accumulate. And so how we had this happen, the factors accumulated to Roosevelt's election in 1932 and a rapid implementation of the New Deal starting in 1933 which included programs like the National Industrial Recovery Act, regulating industry codes and wages, etc. Heavy government intervention, and really, this is going to come in the form of, in my opinion, nuclear power being expanded, an AI race with China, and also a kinetic war race and an arms race, essentially, with China, but also within the energy industry. And I think Natalie Brunell came out and did a pretty good job on Fox talking about the relationship that Bitcoin has with the energy industry as well. Because all these things, granted, yes, there's crazy buildups out there, but there's also something happening with Bitcoin and energy sectors in the background that not enough people are watching. So let's check out this clip from Natalie Brunell on Fox earlier today.
Natalie Brunell, author of the upcoming book, Bitcoin is for Everyone, joins us to break this down this morning. Natalie, great to speak with you. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. I'm going to jump right in. Natalie, just for folks that aren't as familiar, just tell me how Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining, how does that consume energy, number one?
Well, Bitcoin mining consumes energy in order to secure the network. So it's the one thing that you can't print, right? And so you have to expend the resources in order to pay for that energy, or you have to buy the Bitcoin itself. So it really secures the network in a way that is ethical, because no one is in control, no one is in power that can manipulate it or print more Bitcoin. And so I want to touch on your points about renewable energy, because really more and more Bitcoin mining operations, they are plugging into renewable sources like wind, solar, hydropower. And what makes Bitcoin mining so unique is its flexibility, because miners can locate anywhere that energy is stranded, energy that is wasted, and where renewable energy is maybe abundant, but really underutilized, like in East Texas. And Bitcoin miners can shut down in seconds when the demand spikes. So instead of straining the grid, they actually help stabilize it by soaking up excess energy when the supply is really high, and then giving it back when homes and businesses need it the most.
Yeah, I mean, that's just fascinating to hear. Obviously, when it comes to Bitcoin mining and just the generation and technology, it is a really fascinating field to do a deep dive in. So how does Bitcoin mining curb that demand on the grid, as you mentioned, when the use is really high? I think about Texas and some of the problems that they've had on their grid in the most recent. But again, this actually helps that cause.
Exactly. So unlike most industries, Bitcoin mining can pause instantly. It's like shutting off a light switch. So if the grid is under a lot of stress, say in the middle of a heat wave or an extreme weather event, miners can actually power down and then redirect that electricity back to the community. So in Texas, like you mentioned, we've already seen miners shut off during peak demand, and they help keep the lights on and prevent blackouts. They act like essentially like a pressure valve for the grid, which makes the entire energy system more resilient. So when you think of extreme weather, storms, freezes, heat waves, energy demand can really swing very wildly, right? And most businesses, they can't just stop operations without huge losses, but Bitcoin miners can.
So this is something that is already been happening, but I think she does a really, really good job bringing it back down to the base level of what is Bitcoin first and foremost, and then how it's literally been impacting Texas and the energy grid. Now, where things are going from here is, even under Biden's presidency, we saw government incentives that are getting planned to roll out to energy companies, Exxon, major ones, to capture methane flares on a massive scale, put Bitcoin miners on location, and receive government subsidies for doing so. You get green credits from it. So it's kind of like this background plan. And really, yeah, Bitcoin, it's a way to get outside of, say, sanctions and things like that. But the real physical application that Bitcoin can have right now to capture lost energy that our system currently has with the design it's sitting on is immense. And I think that, companies that are building treasuries of Bitcoin probably going to be pretty strong if they can keep their business and their, general flow of work going over the course of the next 20 years. If you're building a treasury of Bitcoin right now with where everything is headed, I think things are going to get crazy. And the total amount of Bitcoin that is now held publicly by these companies in the market is actually past 1 million Bitcoin. So nearly 5% of all Bitcoin that will ever be is in the hands of much longer term holders. And now, yes, there will be shifting of the guards and things like that. And when one of the wallets moves something, it's gonna get scary, right? But in a sense, this is really painting not just at a government level, but on a very baseline business fundamental path that Bitcoin is proving itself to be a underlying asset. And as these companies hold the Bitcoin over the next few years, should things continue to go the rate that they are, I think they're going to be setting a pretty strong precedent for the rest of the world's trust in Bitcoin. Now, trust between nations is hitting all-time lows. Gold in China, right? And this is the chart that DZ showed. This is another signal that not only is trust lost between nations, but also another signal and a potential canary in the coal mine of a preparation for a larger conflict and a need to back their currency with something other than the US dollar should we go to actual blows. And if we go to actual blows, man, all the levels that we've drawn on these charts mean very little, right? All the numbers, all the levels, nothing, right? If we do get a larger conflict rollout, hopefully it's more just a trade and conversational, kind of battle between Trump and Xi Jinping, and it doesn't escalate. But man, if we get an actual break of, the big bad one, yeah, we go, and this is basically a cooked market. We got to find support very, very, very low, right? Probably around the 70,000. I think 75 held up pretty strongly, so that'd be a good defense point. But now I'm a degen. I'm on Pump Fund. I'm out there getting rewards for people just trading the token. You don't have to dump the Pump Fund token. It's been perplexing to see that the rewards are so good for creators on the arena and on Pump Fund. Now, Pump Fund creators have claimed $2.4 million in fees just over the past 24 hours, right? And this is pretty awesome for me to see something long term where the creator, this creator economy, creator capital markets is now becoming a thing, and the creator fees are pretty strong. But, you have things like this. Gainesy's catching some slack here.
God.
We're gonna dive into why Gainesy's catching some slack here. It's actually a pretty ridiculous story here. So, one of the earliest influencers to promote FTX, now the main streamer on Pump Fund. Story of Gainesy darker than you think. Ooh, just for crypto. He was a process analyst, yada yada yada, chess teacher, software engineer. By 2017, he quit everything, entered crypto full time right at the ICO boom. Joined the project Obsidian, yada, yada, yada. Focused on trading. Became one of the earliest influencers at this inch, I know a lot of big influencers that had no idea what FTX was doing. And, for me to sit here and dude, FTX was running fucking dark pools, trades on God mode, Rollbit, yada, yada, all this stuff. Now he's a streamer on Pump Fund, gone viral for his meltdown during the ETH crash. He launched a stream meme coin. And here's the thing is that you have to launch a coin to be able to live stream on the Pump Fund platform, right? You can't just come in there as a user. It's a launching pad that is now trying to work SocialFi into it, kind of in the background, right? Or in the afterthought, rather than Arena, which is a social platform that then released a launch pad. They're doing things in different ways here. He's back in the spotlight, but not for a good reason today. Today, Gainesy crashed his own token live, selling $169,000 of his token Gainesy stream. 5 minutes later, a new wallet created only 24 hours ago started buying the bottom. The wallet made $400,000 in profits and no other trades other than the Gainesy token. Potentially a coincidence. Curious if you guys think it's a coincidence or not. If you like the thread, support it. But basically, Gainesy's like, I made a mistake. I didn't mean to do that. I am curious here if he's made any statements on this. I'm running the stream. There's kind of a hard mistake to make. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Let's see here. I want to see if he said anything about this. Let's see here. But let's see here. All right, let's see here. Pump means looking at that inverse relationship. Blah blah blah. We need. I don't think he said anything really about it. I don't think. I hope that he comes out and says something like more settling than that. I hope he says something more substantial than this. He's like, live now, 150 viewers, horrible hour, blah blah blah. Didn't really address the allegations there. But with the fee structure, I mean, you're making fees off of the show anyways. There's a reason, there's an incentive for creators to be there. One thing that'd be cool to see is potentially an application like what the Arena has that is really cool, I think, is tipping that can happen in the chat to and from. And yeah, you have like super chats where people can pay a super chat in, but you know what? I mean, the Arena's got it where the super chat can go out to the viewers, right? The super chats or the token distributions, there can be a lot that can be done in the Arena that the Pump Fun ecosystem doesn't have right now. Grab that guitar and play a song. Maybe I might. Last time I played a song, it was a local top. The last time I was like, "Can you take me higher?"
You also got demonetized for that.
I probably just got us demonetized right there.
No. When you actually did the song with Kelly, instant demonetization, bro.
Yeah,
they nuked that show.
It happened. Now, this is it's a smaller story. This almost feels like a bear market story, but tokenized Pokemon cards are talking about them exploding. Let's read it. I am a Pokemon fan. I am a Pokemon nerd. I think that this is kind of cool. Okay, I'm an RWA fan and a Pokemon fan. So this is overlapping two worlds of mine here. Tokenized Pokemon cards seeing renewed interest, partly due to recent debut of the token for a Solana-based project called Collector Crypt. Several other projects, Collector Crypt offers customers packs that contain NFTs, which can be redeemed for physical trading cards that are graded and stored for third parties. Project also operates a marketplace for connecting buyers and sellers. Me and Jeremy used to get along a lot because he also is a trading card nerd. I am a trading card nerd in some respects. But seeing tokenized Pokemon cards gets me excited. Project conducted a pre-sale for the card token on Solana using protocol Metaplex. Market cap jumped to a peak of $85 million on Wednesday from a $23 million a day before. So a nice move on market cap there. You know what? I mean, this is something that I don't even want to go look at the chart. I actually want to go into what the marketplace looks like. So you go here. This is Collector Crypt, and you go check out the marketplace. And, essentially you can go through here. I'm actually almost enticed to see if I can offer up my cards for sale, get them. Can I ban myself after singing? Yes, I can. I almost want to put some of mine for sale, see if I can represent some of them on this, get them on the marketplace. But you click into them, and I see, the live streams of people opening these things are absolutely fascinating. But basically, you go in here, it's 75 USDC. So they're accepting Circle stable coins, and you can make an offer on it. It's a live marketplace, very, very interesting. I think it's kind of cool. And Hunter's Solitaire had just some interesting words about it. People don't quite understand the scale of volume happening. I think you're overplaying it a little bit, but it's nice to see it bubbling and not dead, right? Courtyard crossed $400 million in volume on Pokemon cards alone. Collector Crypt just shy of $150 million. And an acquaintance of mine aped $15,000 in November of last year and is already up 7 to 8x on unsealed products. Blow off top going to be in the 30th anniversary, February of 2026. So something in the background to think about. I mean, it's a potential 30-year anniversary. Make a big deal about it. Find a local top. Yet next year's very bloody retracement will be for buying. So kind of a new market, an exciting market. I'm a nerd. I like it. Also, I was hanging out in the Discord for the OGs and really just everyone in the blockchain basement earlier this morning. I think it was Dean that had brought this project to my attention, and it is called DeepBook. Now, I'm in the altcoin section, so we're getting deep into alts. You know I'm about it. DeepBook on the 4-hour time frame. This is a good chunk of price action for DeepBook, and this is it looks like we'll actually go through this. So DeepBook, it's a DeFi application within the Sui ecosystem. Okay, so they do seem to have pretty good volume. About 11.9 billion. It's nothing compared to the volume of bigger plays, right? It's nothing compared to the volume of bigger plays, but I really think that Sui, as long as the network token or the native token Sui continues to perform, you're going to have juice in the ecosystem. So the Deep token is governance, liquidity, and payments, right? So the general chart structure of Deep, the DeepBook token, actually looks like testing local range lows. So this one, I've had a mind for Sui ecosystem plays. Another one that comes to my mind that actually I might want to lump into this, since we're kind of looking through Sui just for the moment, is Cetus protocol. I know Cetus ran into a little bit of a hesitant moment a little bit of time ago. I think it was like an exploit or something like that. I'm actually go see what Cetus is looking like right now. So all time varied, like if Cetus comes back, I mean, this is an extremely, and this is a newer project, right? And this is the kind of chaos I like. If I'm going after Cetus or DeepBook, I'm thinking like 0.5%, maybe 1% of my portfolio, allocation to this, just in preparation if Sui really starts to take off again. I find DeepBook kind of a fascinating graph, kind of an interesting find. I don't think it's going to be the next generation of finance, but really, I like Sui, and it's almost like a small market cap gamble, right? Because I think DeepBook is a very, very small market cap. Let's actually go see what DeepBook's market cap is. Market cap, right around 500 million, right? Volume down though. This is something. This is why I'm. This is why I'm being careful. It's down nearly 40% on volume, right? And there's a greater market pullback. So, but honestly, like this does entice me. Like just the general structure. It's just what I do. I'm an ape. I ape into pain. Brian Armstrong came out with this. He wants half of his Coinbase code to be AI written by October. So that's not too far away. That is not too far away. That is September, October. I mean, what? Next month? He wants half of the code to be written by AI next month. AI already accounts for 40% of the daily code. So they only need to increase it by another 10%. But God, I feel like I just needed to highlight this because it's moving really, really fast. It's moving really, really fast. The AI integrations in major corporations that are forward thinking is happening very quickly. Job replacement as well within that realm happening very quickly. This is why we got a crypto hard, man. We got to be working on hard on the charts to be staying ahead of this. I just feel like it's a greater signal of people being replaced by AI, right? I mean, I think a lot of things are going to be improved with the advent of AI, but there's also going to be a lot of job losses. I'm thinking about all the people that spent all their time coding and were just at that, kind of mid-level, maybe even longer term tenures as coders now being replaced by automation, getting comfortable in their position. And now it's all changing here. But this makes me actually think of Mamo. I wonder if Mamo is falling victim to the larger market pullback here. Let's check it. Let's check this. So Mamo actually looking like America's Trench. Are you guys renaming Mariana Trench? Jesus. Mamo is, I remember looking at this yesterday. It is looking like it's trying to steady out here. Mamo is trying to steady out on the pullback. Let's go to the yeah. Okay. Okay. Steadying out, still held the higher low, structure. Generalized market pullback, giving the bears their ammo to the flames, saying that the market's over. I disagree outwardly. And other things are happening on altcoins. There's a lot of old school altcoins that are getting some love. I saw BitGet major update. 220 million tokens worth about $1 billion was burned of BGB. This is very, very good. And I think that they saw the juice that was coming to coin and a lot of these other crypto exchange tokens. This also comes with BitGet and Morpho announce exclusive strategic partnership. So Morpho is like getting partnerships all across, like all over the place. I really liked Morpho just because of positioning it had in Coinbase in and of itself. And now I see Morpho branching out all over the damn place. I even think that you can integrate it into Ledger cold wallets, like absolutely crazy. I can't get over the America's Trench. Maybe we should hit up Trump and give him the idea to rename Mariana Trench to America Trench. What do you think? Is he going to do it? Should we make him? I think we should
make him do it. We should like go to Washington and have a sit down conversation about making it you said American Trench?
Yeah, America Trench. I mean, come on. We're the deepest. We're the coolest out there.
We already made the Gulf of America. What's wrong with doing this to the Mariana Trench?
We got the Gulf of America. I never got Greenland, though. I was promised Greenland. I was like, send Trump meme coin to zero. Use all the money to go buy Greenland. Absolutely. I want a new vacation spot. Now, oh my God, Wiggins. Okay. Now, according to Anthony Apollo, executive director of Wyoming Stablecoin Commissioner, HBAR is going to the moon. Now, let's see what he had to say. HBAR was chosen as a host due to its existing security, speed, and regulatory alignments. Our goal with the Frontier token, right? This is the Wyoming stablecoin move, is to set a new standard for how states leverage digital assets to better serve the public. Commission selected Hedera for candidacy because its technical edge aligns with our commitment to security and compliance. Very bullish. Honestly, like from a fundamental use case, like this is what, looking into crypto projects, we look for all the ingredients that make it, eventually applicable to adoption, eventually allowed into the greater scheme of what money is. Very bullish, honestly, these words out of the state of Wyoming regarding HBAR. So HBAR seemingly finding a seat at the table here. It being mentioned by Wyoming in these stablecoin tests. Hella bullish. Honestly, probably the most bullish thing to happen to HBAR. And guess what? It's down on the day. It's down on the day by 4%. No excitement. Probably one of the most bullish announcements ever for HBAR. And price is down. People are afraid. And I feel like buying. What is that giraffe in the back? This is Jeffrey. Okay. Jeffrey has had a falling out at Toys R Us. The economy was bad. People weren't buying the overpriced packaged goods that they could get at Walmart anymore. It's the same problem that Target was having right now, but they were able to hide it. Jeffrey couldn't hide the problem, right? So Toys R Us went out, and Jeffrey now hangs out with me in the new office. Shout out to you, Jeffrey. HBAR follows BTC. I mean, honestly, HBAR has got a great chart. It's not popped out and moving into new all-time highs like BTC. If you're looking at the overall chart, you could make that opinion in the more zoomed in time frame on the weekly or daily. But HBAR, it's down on some of the most bullish news I think it's ever had. I know it's 21 cents and it's higher. Like I traded this move in 24, right? Which was a good move. I think it was like a 3 or 4x up to 15 cents. But where it's at right now, it's got a very, very bullish announcement. It's got longevity kind of cooked into it, and it's now tapping the top of this W pattern. This is actually what I see on HBAR. Let's look at this a little bit closer. So the midpoint of kind of the double washout moment H-bar had, sits right at about 21 cents. 21 cents, 20 cents is the midpoint of this. I actually, as crazy as it is to say this, I actually kind of feel like buying some H-bar. Seeing the announcement that they actually fell within the requirements the government's need, and then the Wyoming government's okay working with them. I think the whole pile, like crypto, Steve-O is in the chat, or Steve-O loves DJ agents. You have a pile of crypto projects that are getting a great spotlight. It's great PR, and it gives more incentive for people to speculate on private companies that are trying to find seats at this new change, because everyone knows, you can feel it in the air. Change is in the air, right? So people are looking for what the change is going to be. That's why I spend tireless amounts of time researching not only crypto, but macroeconomic movements, energy industry movements. And the change is real. The change is happening. Now, this kind of crazy World Liberty Fi. A veteran crypto tagged me last night. Great entry point, or stay away on World Liberty Fi. Now, obviously, things got worse since the post. Shout out. I love you, veteran. I did not buy World Liberty Fi. And honestly, I don't really feel like buying World Liberty Fi. It's currently at 18 cents. It fell all the way down to 16 cents. But I think it was mentioned that they have some unlocks going on. They have a lot of different things going on. I just, for some reason, I'm not horribly enthused by this. Maybe I should be more enthused by this project, but I'm just simply not. It really doesn't spark my joy. It doesn't make me want to FOMO in. And maybe in the next bear market, if it's still a thing, maybe something like that could be, but it's just, no, man, I'm just not getting the vibe. So World Liberty Fi, if it fully goes, down to like 1 cent or something, almost like a Luna type play, I would get it. But at the current levels, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in that. Now let's look at the other crypto markets and actually see where the fear and greed still at a flat line. Where's the good deal? Meme Core has just been going ballistic, and Pump Fun. Pump Fun's up 32% on the week. Meme Core is up 230% on the week. Jesus. What in the world is going on? Is it crime season already? All right, let's see here. Volume up 37%. Market cap 1.4 bill. Let's go to the X. Meme Core present. Dude, I think there's something there for Plume. I put in a long on Plume, and it turned out great last night. I put in a long at the end of the show, and God, that was sick. Joseph, Drew, you have a phone call. President Trump wanting a detailed explanation of why you're not buying World Liberty Fi. He wants to meet at Cracker Barrel for the discussion. Man, I would get in there. Come on now. Oh my God. I would be in there. Now, this Meme Core thing has been just going ballistic. And it's got 360,000 followers, been around since 2021. Let's see how long the price data goes back to, because actually it doesn't look like it. The only price data or kind of token generation info we have goes back to July of this year, right? So they have had this Twitter account for much, much longer than that. 300,000 followers. Price is going nuts. I'm expecting lots of likes. I'm expecting lots of action. And yeah, they are getting a lot of action here. As a repost. Their direct posts are getting around, 700, 500, 1,000. So there is activity there. Volume is up. I'm not buying this. I think the trenches are showing that they are alive. And this is why the chaos and you have to have a blend of kind of I have to have a blend of utility and chaos realm, right? It's kind of the balance that I keep, where it's like the market will be absolutely unreasonable. It'll make ridiculous moves. We saw what happened with the metaverse. That totally sucked last market. Sandbox exploded in price. all these other things that made no sense exploded in price. And so I've learned over cycles that you really have to have a place in your heart for chaos in the crypto markets for sure. So meme core definitely showing that $1.37 right now, absolutely exploding. And shout out to anyone that's in the meme core. I haven't met a single person that's mentioned this project or holds it. Do you own any of this meme core? I want to know. I honestly want to know. World Liberty Fried. I rotated my BTC gains into Sweet and Morpho. Let's check out the Morpho chart, shall we? All right, so let's go. We're starting with ETH. Fighting back, baby. We are fighting back. This is the 15-minute. Money flow is still in the red. We did get the green dot, general trigger wave on the 15-minute. Can we do it? Let's go check out Morpho, though. Let's check out the degen stuff. God, every day I see Morpho, just more and more integrations. It's kind of crazy. All right, so that's looking like she wants to go up. That's looking like she wants to go up. And God, this thing shook me off so many times. I was snooping for the long here. And I'm always snooping, always snooping. I'm looking at ETH right now for that roll around moment. Morpho definitely seems like it's walking to its own tune. It's dumping way harder when everything else was slightly dumping like that. Move from $2.80 down to $1.80. Very aggressive, lots of profit taking, and now it seems like it's reset and found that bounce point, some reasonable entry points, and that's why the green line is here for my entry point on a Morpho long. But you know what? The Powerball is going. I was hearing the Powerball is in the billions. Might buy more Moonwell. Let's go check out Moonwell. Let's go check it. Wyoming stablecoin not on Hedera. Let's see here. Let's click into the link. Let's see here. Oh, how do I get this link? Pull it up. Let's go. Let's check it out, Steve-O. Stablecoin. This is the rollout of it. This is a stabletoken.yo.gov. Okay. Let's see here. Just do the control F. H bar. See if we got any. They have nothing on H bar. Let's see. Arbitrum Avalanche. This is the stuff that we initially reported on. Nothing on H bar. It's probably stemming from that fella's comment. So that's actually what we got to fact check. We have to fact check Anthony Apollo. And you know what? Why don't we let this run? Let's take this verbatim, right? Let's take this verbatim. Let's do a deep seek. Let's do a deep seek here. This would be kind of fun. God. Anthony Apollo. Did Anthony Apollo say this? Let's see here. Because they made it quotes. So they made it quotes. Let's actually see if there's any truth to what they say. All right. Watch. It'll be CNBC and fucking all the talking heads. It'll be all the liars that verify it for me. Watch. Billions. Holy God. Matthew King's got 450 on the show on Arena that I was just on. Jesus. That Arena. See, and that's so cool. Like hundreds, if not thousands of people showing up for shows on Arena, man. That is sick. Now let's see here. Let's see if we get the deep seek results. Here we go. All right. So apparently he did say this exact quote. Let's see here. Let's check it out. We're fact checking. We're digging deep here. H bar. Dude, this, you would think it came here. Selected Hedera. Let's check out Hedera. See, and they say yes, and then the sources don't give us the results here. They say yes, the sources, and that was the one I was hoping to get, the WyomingPublicMedia.org. So you got Cointelegraph. We're gonna have to go through each one of these sources. Holy hell, Kelly. What is Kelly saying? World Liberty blacklist Justin Sun's address? No way. No way. What? Oh my God. Nuh-uh. Oh shit. What? Justin Sun's address been locked, locking 540 million World Liberty Fi token in unlocked tokens, 2.4 billion in locked tokens, and say they believe an exchange has been using their tokens to sell and push down the price. Damn. Damn.
Damn, Daniel.
That's wild. Wow, wow, wee wah. Okay, we're gonna go to the Discover X account. That is crazy, crazy news. Wow. Okay. Never a dull day. This is from Zoomer. Looks like World Liberty blacklist, yada yada yada. Price pushed down. Dude, maybe that's a buy signal for the World Liberty Fi token. Right? Maybe is World Liberty Fi going to pump from this? Jesus. I mean, it's the biggest loser. You look at the token with the egg on its face today is World Liberty Fi. They blacklisted Justin Sun. Dude, what does that mean? Hold on. Wait a minute. This might actually mean you remember do you remember Trump not hooking up, but we had Justin Sun at the crypto gala dinner. You remember that?
Yes. Yeah, I do remember.
And
that.
then World Liberty Fi was buying Tron token shortly after that.
Correct.
Then we see Justin Sun and obviously this huge investment into World Liberty Fi. Now his massive bag that honestly is going to end up being worth in the multiple billions of dollars range is blacklisted and it can't sell. Essentially a token burn, showing a highly controlled blockchain, obviously. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Peak cinema right now happening in front of our eyes. Also, this H-bar thing is it's fascinating to me because we're getting verifications come back from the publications talking about that announcement, but then within the actual write-ups of it, you don't see anything explicitly talking about H-bar. Let's see here. We're going through. I mean, there's so much to go through here. I already did kind of the keyword search and it's not showing up. So this actually is something, God, is this shenanigans by the H-bar people? You know what I mean?
That'd be funny.
They might be. Oh, look, within the state, Charles Hoskinson, blockchain research company, Input Output Global, co-founder of Wyoming-based blockchain company Cardano, questionable. See, that's you have to question everything. Jesus. All right. Call the entire project unmitigated disaster. I don't think the government should be compete with private industry. Also, I don't understand how the state of Wyoming thinks for $5 million investment, they can compete with a $240 billion industry. Charles Hoskinson feeling a little bit spicy about this whole situation in the background, isn't he? Isn't it? Very, very interesting. Now this H-bar thing, obviously it's going to take more verifications. It seems like they might be blowing something out of proportion that really isn't there. Honestly, like I'm getting the results from the AI search that yes, the sources, none of these sources are coming up and verifying this for me explicitly, right? And I was asking specifically, the commission selected Hedera for candidacy, right? And so, I mean, live on air, I'll do this for you guys. I'll go through, I already went through the Wyoming Public Media. Let's go to PRN News or PR Newswire. F. See here. Here we go. Okay. So this is where it's coming from. Here we go. So PR Newswire. And if they're misrepresenting his actual verbiage, there is a huge effing problem. Lawsuits, yada, yada, yada. Wyoming Stable Token Commission announced the last commission meeting. Frontier Stable Token FRNT, first state issued stable token in the U.S. will soon be available on Hedera. So it's going to be available on the network, trusted public network governed by leading global institutions. Hedera was selected as the only additional blockchain to be a candidate for FRNT during the commission's Q2 evaluation. So there is that. There is that, right? Now, I wonder what this is. How's Epic Chain doing? What the hell is Epic Chain? I want to find out what Epic Chain is now. What is Epic Chain? Please give me more information. News provided by Hedera. This is the name of the game, though. This is why, you see the bullish stuff and you got to peel back the layers. You got to, and Bullion searches, Grok Heavy search AI. Grok Heavy AI is pretty good. Different tools like that are very, very important in crypto, I think. I've caught Hedera doing this before and passed it on to ZachXBT, who confirmed. Yeah, I mean, this seems like there was some mention of now the network of Hedera getting access to this, but it doesn't blow my socks off. I'll just say it that way. Short World Liberty Fi. Ooh, man, that is a $1 million question. Scam coin 2. Oh, just so many scams. A scam. Scam coin has had celebrities involved in coins. Jesus Christ almighty. Isaac, when can we have nice things in crypto?
Never.
God damn. Oh my God.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I say never, but you don't know.
You never? That's a bearish outlook. But honestly, you know what? Sometimes you just got to look at it and acknowledge it for what it is. Bitcoin is the way, man. We're in altcoins to get more Bitcoin. Chainlink, I feel good about long term. Everything else is literally just a play for more Bitcoin for me, So that's kind of how I'm approaching this. I'm not marrying any of these freaking other altcoins. It's Chainlink, it's Bitcoin. That's long term for me. Other than that, everything else is going to be pretty fly by the night. It's going to be seasonal. It's going to go up when the season's juicy. It's going to go down when the season leaves. Who is protagonist? Yeah, that is. You know what? We need something. This is actually something different here. So, we don't have it. Isaac.
We don't. Oh, I have to get it then. I know what you're talking about.
A protagonist actually seems like a real human. So I'm understanding who they are first before a full deportation happens, if that makes sense. You got to know what you're doing here. Damn, Travis Bird is short World Liberty Fi and down bad already. Let's actually, for you, Travis, let's go look at what's going on here. So World Liberty Fi. God. Oh, we're such degens in this world. We're trying to short it. Okay. So let's go. This is the 15-minute to begin with. Obviously, deep pullback, right? Deep pullback. Fair enough. A lot of memes, a lot of alts, a lot of bullshit looks like this right now on the market. Okay. So there's that. Now, I think he just entered. How are you down or big? You're not big down already. There's no way. But that was a pretty scammy little weak showing. This is probably right as the announcement of the blacklist happened, and now everyone's like, "Oh my God, do we suck again?" So there is no telling where the floor of this is. It's currently in the top 30. Probably not. Yeah, it is number 30 right now. This could, by all rights, fall to number 50, number 60 in a very short amount of time, and I wouldn't wince a bit. I wouldn't lose any sleep. I wouldn't be surprised about it. So. There you go. Up $19. We're all degens out here. We're all trading. You know how it be, you guys. You know how it be. I got a couple trades open right now. Reopened right before live. And actually, the Morpho, I'm in a long on Morpho. It's up 10%. Long on Fartcoin, that's down by 6%. So Fartcoin looking a little weak. And then got an ETH long in that it's basically flatlined right now. So I'm out there. I'm looking for the juice. I hope you are too. I am the squirrel that's always looking for that next nut. Isaac, great to have you on the stream again today. You
Like
know what I
said,
mean?
It's been a busy week, but
It
the
has.
office is coming along very nicely. So
It has. It's, you know what? We're getting everything set up. It's going to be stupendous. It's going to be huge. I want to see, dude. You know what? We need the deport button. We need the deport
do.
button.
I need
Okay.
to go and download.
Other
it.
than
Need
that,
it.
love and appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.